A pleasant day to everyone. Welcome to Online. Today, we're very fortunate to have with us one of the most respected evangelists of our time. He's also an author, a publisher, and an entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Guy Kawasaki. Hello, Guy. Welcome to Online. Thank you. Have a seat. It's really a privilege to have you on the show. I have a confession to make. I actually follow your Twitter account, and I also read your blog posts.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, I knew you looked familiar.
Okay. First of all, I would like to ask you, Guy, can you tell our audience what exactly is an evangelist?
An evangelist is a person who spreads the good news.
Okay.
So the word comes from Greek roots, meaning bringing the good news. First evangelism job that I had was at Apple, and my job was to bring the good news of Macintosh. So I was to convince people specifically to write Macintosh software or create Macintosh hardware. After that somewhat narrow focus, it got larger where I was evangelizing Macintosh to anybody. And now I'm the chief evangelist of a company called Canva out of Sydney, Australia, that's going to democratize design. And so I'm bringing the good news that Canva will enable people to become designers and design great things.
And this is being done online, right?
It's being done online,
Right.
yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you also worked for Motorola?
Yes.
For a while?
Yes.
Right.
I've had difficulty maintaining a steady job. So I spent a year advising the CEO of Motorola. And I happen to be a very, very big Android fan, which you may find hard to believe. But, yeah, I use an
After
Android
working
phone.
for Apple.
I use a Macintosh,
Okay.
but I do like Android.
Okay. Well, I'm sure our audience will not forgive me if I don't ask this question because you've worked with Motorola, who happens to be owned by Google, and also with Apple.
Yes.
So I'm sure our audience would like to know, how does it feel like working for Google and Apple?
Well, not many people have done that and survived. They're very different companies. Apple is truly product engineering driven. I think Google is more marketing driven. Apple obviously makes devices, so they have a narrower focus. Google also makes devices. I use a Nexus 6 phone. I use a Nexus 7 tablet. But the core of Google is more software and things in the cloud and that kind of thing. Very different companies. Google is probably more diverse. Apple has a phone and a tablet and a computer, right? So, great experience on both counts.
But in terms of personality, have you worked with Larry Page?
Very little.
But how does it feel, sir, to work with Steve Jobs?
Well, Steve Jobs, there is no other Steve Jobs. Lots of people claim to be visionaries, and in my opinion, there have only been two true visionaries in American business. Steve Jobs is one, and Walt Disney is the other. You could make the case, I would grant you, that Elon Musk of Tesla is the closest thing to a Steve Jobs today. So he was remarkable, a very difficult person to work for, very, very picky, very impatient, very smart, could not ever BS Steve Jobs. Having said all that, I would not trade the experience of working for Steve Jobs for anything. I mean, I am where I am because of Steve Jobs. So he got the best work out of me. So I wish everybody once in their life could have that experience.
Well, that's
just once is enough, though.
That's something that people will envy you for the rest of their life.
Yes.
Okay.
I never thought about that when I was doing it. But with
Now,
hindsight.
one of the things that you do right now is you talk about innovation. And again, I've seen your talk in TEDx and some other in some other companies and universities. You were actually evangelizing innovation. That's one. So can you tell us briefly what exactly is innovation as well?
Innovation, in my opinion, is the ability to know what people will need or will want before they do. That is one thing that Steve did very well. Although another interpretation of what Steve did is, it's not so much that he knew what people will want. He just created it and made them want what he created, which is just as good.
Right.
Same, bottom line. And so I think that's what innovation is. It's about being ahead of people.
So, but can you say that innovation is for all companies?
It's hard to imagine where you'd want a company that did not innovate.
Because I'm sure you've heard of some companies saying that, why would we reinvent the wheel when everything is doing well or fine?
Yeah, but at some point, Wang, the word processing company, said that. DEC said that. Remington Rand, the typewriter company, said that. Smith Corona, the typewriter company, said that. Nokia probably said that. So I think you have to innovate. And I can't think of an example where you could just sit there and not change.
So this
people's tastes change.
So this is supposed to be a continuing thing.
I hope. I think it's absolutely necessary. Yes.
But based on your experience, what are the most difficult or the most challenging part of innovation?
The most challenging part of innovation for an existing company is to realize what we just said, which is if things are going well, why would you rock the boat?
Right.
Why would you create a product that cannibalizes your current product? Well, the answer to that is because there's probably two guys in a garage, or two gals in a garage, or a guy and a gal in a garage, someplace, who doesn't care about their installed base because they don't have an installed base, who's going to try to kill you. And if you look at history, the people who started Sun Microsystems, they wanted to go after DEC and Digital and all those other companies, right? Actually, DEC is Digital. Data General is what I meant.
Okay.
So you have to. I'm struggling here. I don't usually get stumped. I can't think of an example of a company that shouldn't change.
Okay, but I would like to ask you, in the tech industry, there's been a lot of changes happening.
Yeah.
I would just cite some examples and I would ask you to give some comments.
Okay.
First of all, Microsoft. Satya Nadella has made some reorganization in the company.
Yes.
Do you think this reorganization would help Microsoft and bring them back where they are before?
I don't know what reorganizations he did because I don't exactly follow Microsoft, okay? But, Microsoft had this enormous success with operating systems and applications. To this day, they do billions of dollars, but they're not perceived as an innovator. And, it's easy to write Microsoft off because of that. But I will also tell you that I was at Apple in 1995 when everybody was writing off Apple. So one thing I learned is, just because people say you're doomed doesn't mean you're doomed.
Okay.
I also learned, incidentally, that just because people say you're successful doesn't mean you'll be successful either. So, it's not my position to pass judgment on them. You never know. This guy may turn it all around. I'm fundamentally an optimist. I like to give people that shot.
Okay. So you're not really giving them they still have a chance to make it.
Well, anybody who's doing tens of billions of dollars has a chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because right now the market is being controlled, as far as mobile OS is concerned, it's being controlled by Android and iOS.
Yes.
And third is Windows, right?
I don't know why you would use a Windows phone. If you want the breadth of applications. The irony is that Microsoft used the lack of software against Macintosh. And today, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to use the lack of software against a Windows phone.
Okay.
I just don't think you'll get the breadth. And, I was at a dinner last night here in Manila, and I sat next to two people with Windows phones.
Okay.
That's like 50% of the install base in the world of Windows phones. They were at my table. I've never seen that.
You feel lucky.
Yeah. What's the odds of that?
Okay. Facebook. Facebook has been regarded as the social media king of social media.
Yes.
But lately, Facebook has been doing a lot of changes. More specifically, Facebook has announced that they're going to even cut down the number of views every time you post. Only a few people will see the view unless you pay or you advertise. Do you think this is a good strategy as far as Facebook is concerned?
I love social media. And so let me give you first why I think it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's okay because people have become so used to a feeling of entitlement that you know, Facebook should provide me this for free, forever, unlimited use, you know. I'm doing Facebook a favor by using Facebook. Well, that's kind of total BS, right? So Facebook, it costs them money to store, it costs them money for access, it costs them a lot of money. So this is like, you know, if you invite me to your house for dinner, okay, and I come to your house and I say, I don't like your house, I don't like your family, I don't like what you cooked, you would logically tell me, get out, right? So Facebook spends all these billions of dollars and now they figured out a way to monetize it, and you say, well, I don't like you monetizing me. Well, it's not a free ride. Okay, so that's the argument to support Facebook can do whatever they want. Okay, now the flip side is, as a social media user, what I don't understand is these people have opted in voluntarily to follow me. So it's not like I'm spamming people, right? They said, I want to follow what Guy does. And Facebook is making so that only, I don't know, pick a number, 5%, 10%, 15% can see what I've done. Unless they change a setting, which nobody ever changes that setting. So it kind of defeats the purpose. And I think that is a very risky move. Because if you're on Facebook because you think your friends and family are there, so when you have a baby, or when you have a new car, or when you have a new job, you can go to Facebook and all your friends and family will know that you got a baby, new car, you know, new job. But you find out that only 5% of them see that? Kind of defeats the purpose. I think that's the danger.
Plus, there are other social media sites that people can go to as well.
Like LinkedIn and, you know, and Google Plus. So you know, everybody says Facebook is 3-4 times larger than Google Plus. Okay, so mathematically, let's suppose that's right. But if 1 out of 20 people can see your post on Facebook, and Facebook is 3 times larger, it's better to be on Google Plus, right? Just mathematically. So I think that's the danger they have to worry about.
Apple.
What about Apple?
Recently, they launched the iPhone 6. Increasing the screen size. Do you think this is a little bit late, or do you think this is the right time for Apple to do it?
The irony with Apple is that they've been so late on so many things, right? So they were late in 4G. They're late in this, late in NFC, late in big screens. You couldn't choose a default keyboard until this last iteration. You still can't make Chrome your default browser. You know, I use a Nexus 6 phone, but I use an iPad Air, right? And many times on an iPad Air, I know I downloaded an app. I don't know what folder it's in. I don't know what page it's on. So, you know, I don't want to like type in the name and search. So it's on Android. Do you have an Android phone?
Yes.
Okay, so an Android phone, you know, at the bottom that thing that's like a bunch of little squares, and you click on that and it lists all your apps alphabetically, no matter where. I use that, you know, 5 times a day, right? When I'm using my iPad Air, it seems like I'm always going to the App Store, searching for the app, and then it says open. So I got it someplace, right? And I just can't stand that. So it's stuff like that. And also, another thing about iOS. So let's say that on my desktop, I want to have like all the apps on the bottom and space on the top. Okay? Can't do that, right? Because Apple has decided the apps have to be all at the top, and if there's space, we're going to tell you exactly how the space will be. It'll be at the bottom. What if I wanted to make 3 space, 3 space? You cannot do that, right? Android, we can do that, right? These are things that drive me crazy.
But they're successful.
I mean, you know. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, Google, I mean, they're known for the strategy wherein they almost provide everything for free. I mean, so what can you say about this?
Well, I mean, you know, I would not bet against Google. They're monetizing. I think there's now on Google Plus, you can pay to promote your posts also, right? Although everybody can see it, you can promote, so it's more obvious, I guess. I think Google eventually, it's going to be Google and Amazon controlling the world. Because
that's actually the next company that I'm going to ask you, Amazon.
Amazon is a freaking killing machine. I mean, they know what I bought. They know what else I might want to buy. My bank, when I want to look up a check that's 2 years old, no can do, right? I have to send them an email. They're going to go look up in some place, and you know, 10 days later I might get it. The other day, I looked for the first time in Amazon in my account. And they have my purchase history to like 1995. So in 1995, they know that I bought, I don't know, some DVD or something, right?
Okay.
How is that possible that Amazon could tell me what I bought 20 years ago? My bank can't tell me about my check 2 years ago.
Okay.
How is that possible? And I'm a self-published author, so I use Kindle. You take your Word file, you upload it to Kindle, and 8 hours later, you're in business. and I make 70% on that. So $10 book, I make 7. Kindle makes 3. You know, I mean, compared to traditional publishing, where it takes a year, and you make on a $10 book, I would make $1.50. So 7 versus $1.50, 1 year versus 8 hours. You don't have to be a rocket science to figure out.
And this is something that is unthinkable before, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it opens up also a lot of opportunity.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just have some personal questions for you so that we can end this interview on a lighter note. I would just like to know, first of all, what is your favorite app or program?
My favorite app or program? Wow.
1 or 2, perhaps.
Well, you may find this bizarre. Nobody else is going to say this. But as a writer, it's Word.
Word.
I need Word. And, you know, lots of people are going to say, oh, there's all these other word processing. But, you know, I need Word and I need Word style sheets. So that is a beast that I have mastered. So,
maybe that's their next career after being an evangelist, being a Word
evangelist? Don't hold your breath.
Or a Word professor, teacher, perhaps.
Yeah,
Okay, my next question is your most loved device or gadget.
My most loved device or gadget is probably, wow, another tough one. Let me tell you the gadgets I use. I use a Nexus 6 phone. I use a Nexus 7 tablet. I use an iPad Air Mini 2. I use a MacBook Pro. Probably my MacBook Pro.
Your MacBook Pro. Yeah. Okay. The worst device being invented.
Ever, you mean?
Yes.
Worst device ever invented? IBM PC?
IBM PC. I thought it's a revolutionary thing. Okay. Device or innovation that you want to see?
Oh, I could give you a whole list of things.
Top 1 or 2, perhaps.
Yeah, I would like a watch that is not linked to a phone, that can measure the steps I take and the calories I burn every day, that looks like a watch, not like a little computer, that the battery lasts a month.
Okay.
The closest thing to that I've seen, I don't have one yet, Withings is putting out a watch that is very analog looking, keeps track of steps. It does link up to your phone, but I don't want a case where I have a watch and I have to have a phone
for it to work.
You know, to really use it, right?
So it's something like a phone watch that works independently.
Yes.
Okay. One idea that you wish you have thought of, but you have not.
Well, but if I have not thought of it, how would I know what it is? By definition, you're trying to...
No, meaning say if there's an idea out there already.
That I wish I did?
Yes.
Pinterest.
Pinterest.
I think Pinterest is a great idea.
Okay. One last question. One company that you wish you own.
That I own?
Yes.
Besides Globe, you mean?
Yes.
Maybe also Pinterest.
Pinterest also.
Yeah, I think Pinterest is going to do so well.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Guy, thank you very much for your time. It's really an honor to have you on the show. And thank you also for watching online. Remember, anything and everything you put on the web stays on the web. This is Jerry Liao. Thank you for watching online. God bless.